In the black community, we were prepared by setting certain goals, objectives for ourselves. This was done primarily in the home, in the church, and in the school at that particular time because schools had a heavy reinforcement into our characters because they were black schools. Schools were not integrated at that time. Do the best that you can with your life. You are unique. You have a contribution to make. You have something to offer. You have a talent. You have skills. Many, many other things that you do have. Go on out there into the world and get them. Don't stay here in Farmville. There's nothing here for you. It's a retired person's town, a little small place of this nature. But go on and develop yourself. College. If you can't go to college, take up a good skill. Skill trades were heavy then. We've moved away from that, of course, now, but in the 50s, skill trades were very heavy. Masonry, carpentry, electronics, auto mechanics, and many, many others. So we were encouraged, pardon?
Then to your lack of employment, the young people had to go away from home. Every summer,
right.
Most of the young people around here went to Atlantic City to work.
Relative to white America, we were taught that a lot of the values that came into being were set by middle class, let's say white America. In a way, we were to emulate them, because at this point we were at the very threshold of integration. Emulate them, take on many of these as much as possible, middle class values and virtues. There was a kind of inferior stigma placed on black people. But you had to look through it to see exactly where the real truth behind it. That is a stigma of inferiority. You're not exactly where you should be. But you need to do this. You need to do thus and so, in order to be accepted in a white world, into a white culture. You see. They have their values, we have our values. But in a general sense, and the world was teaching this too, in a general sense, our values did not bear, they would tell us in general, as much weight as theirs. So let's try. What does this mean then? What do you say? Go to college, excel in school while you're here and wherever you do go. Appearance, reading, writing, many other things.
And then, too, in this area, we were taught to stay in our place, whatever that meant, stay in your place, because our parents were afraid that if we stepped out of our place, we might get killed, we might get hurt, because they knew that because of racism here in Prince Edward County, anything could happen to you. So they were fearful. It hurt, but it brought about some self-pride, too, because in school we were taught. We had role models, like I mentioned before. We had role models, and our teachers, instilled self-pride, and we just knew that someday, it wasn't going to be like this all the time. That someday we were going to be somebody. So you just kept that in your minds. And one day we're going to leave Prince Edward. We're not going to be in Farmville the rest of our lives, And for the most part, most of us did.
There were imaginary geographical boundaries in our minds as to how far we could go. There were imaginary psychological boundaries in our mind and emotional boundaries in our minds as to how far we could go, relative to the black-white situation. So we learned to work within the confines, to be creative as much as possible, to make, as black people say a lot of times, make do with what you have. And by this adaptability to this own inner culture, this is what brought forth many of the qualities and the strengths. And it meant that we had to live beyond where we were. We were not taught just to watch where you're walking right now, just to look down right where you were in the 50s. But look ahead. There's something out there, Go get it.